Hello viewers and welcome to another Rob blog. It's actually a vlog, but I call it Rob blog. And I can call it that because, well, it is my vlog, so I can call it what I like. Well, here we are, holiday season. I'm gonna go this way a bit. You see all that green out the window, palm trees, da-da-da. Must be Vancouver Island. There you go. That little bit of snow we had in a couple of vlogs ago has now gone. And it's this. And it's about 7-8 degrees out there right now. Waiting for the sun to come out. The sun is supposed to come out. If I mentioned before, this is one of my favorite magazines. Comes from England. I used to pick it up in England when we were there every Christmas. But I've had it delivered now. I get 6 issues a year. I love this. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Can you see that? Lovely. English Home Magazine. You can pick it up in a lot of places. Sometimes even Walmart has it. English Home Magazine. Yes. Celebrating the essence of English style. Marvelous. And we got our first calendar, which came from our real estate agent, David Lowe's, who's with Remax. And this is the cover. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Vancouver Island. That's good. So, must be the holiday season, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I was going to go out and ride my e-bike this afternoon because I thought the sun was coming out, and I go out to the e-bike, which I haven't ridden, I have to be honest, in a couple of months because the weather's been dicey, and I went out and the battery was dead. So right now the e-bike is in the garage and it is being recharged. So we'll see what happens later. But the sun has to come out because, you know, the roads are a little bit damp and whatnot. But I would just go for a little bike ride around, and I do that because I can. I can, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to talk faster, and I'm trying not to go on because I know the average person who watches a YouTube video tunes out at 2 minutes and so much. And that's probably just about now. Well, thanks for joining me. Bye. For those of you that are staying, we're getting back to A Christmas Carol. Charles Dickens. And it's kind of, I read Charles Dickens, the reading at Christmas, 2 different years back in Ontario. Was asked both times to read it with 4 other people. You share a stave. It's a wonderful evening with choirs singing in between the staves and whatnot. Then one year I even directed and put in little vignettes and that in amongst the reading. So I'm quite familiar with Scrooge and what goes on. And I do read the book every year at this time of year, usually with myself. But anyways, last year was the first year that I started my YouTube channel on December the 1st, and shortly after I started A Christmas Carol. So let's get to where we were. Yesterday, Scrooge went home after a horrendous day at work, people wanting money and time off, and he went home and he had some gruel and, I don't know, a cup of soup, something like that. Marley came to visit, did a lot of ooh, and shook chains and all that kind of stuff, and told him what to expect with these 3 spirits that were coming, hence it's a ghost story of Christmas. And as we left Scrooge yesterday, Marley went out the door, and there was no evidence that he opened or closed it. He just went through the freaking door. I hope he didn't loosen the hinges or anything. Anyhow, Scrooge closed the window that had opened up, and he looked at the door where Marley had entered. It was double locked, as if he had locked it with his own hands, and by gosh, he did lock it with his own hands earlier. He wanted to say humbug. He was a little uncertain if he should use that kind of cuss word, humbug. And being from the emotion that he had undergone and just basically being tired from the day, as I mentioned, all those people wanting money and everything. Poor Scrooge, everybody wanted everything from him. And on top of it, they wanted him to say Merry Christmas. Mr. Scrooge, Merry Christmas, bah humbug. Anyhow, being from the emotion he had undergone, as I just mentioned, and the fatigues of the day, or his glimpse of the invisible world, or the dull conversation he had with the ghost, it was pretty boring, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty boring for a ghost. Of course, he was a ghost. He was dead. What did he do? He didn't go to Tim Hortons. You know, he wasn't watching the latest movies on Crave or anything like that. So, or the lateness of the hour, much in need of repose, Scrooge, Mr. Scrooge, went right to bed without undressing. Does that mean that Scrooge sleeps nude? I don't know. But he went without undressing this particular night. And he fell asleep upon the instant. Like instant coffee. He fell asleep. Well, the first of the three spirits coming along now. The quarter hour hit, and after one, and Scrooge thought, well, that's it. The ghost is just not coming. So there. So it was all a lie. He probably just dreamed the whole thing. He was more than convinced that he must have sunk into a doze, and he missed the clock ringing. At length it broke upon his ear. Ding dong. 1:15, said Mr. Scrooge, counting. Mr. Scrooge, ding dong. 1:30, said Scrooge. Ding dong. 1:15, said Scrooge. Ding dong. And then the hour itself. And nothing else. He spoke before the hour bell sounded, which is now, with a deep, dull hollow, a melancholy one. So you see, I think originally maybe he was thinking it was after 1, it was really after 12. And what happened is it got to be the real 1 o'clock. You know how it is when you wake up and you wonder, what the heck time is it? And you get a little dozy and you don't know what time it is. I guess that's what happened to Scrooge. He spoke before the hour bell sounded, I said, and it was a melancholy one. Even, things were so depressing at this time of Scrooge, with the workhouses and everything, that even the melancholy bell, the bell was even melancholy. Oh, my God. Well, no wonder all those dark colors they wore. Good Lord. Black, dark blue, gray, maybe a little bit of red here and there at Christmas. But that's another story, fashion in the time of Scrooge. The curtains of his bed were drawn aside by a hand, not the curtains at his feet nor the curtains at his back, but to those to which his face looked at. And there was an earthly visitor who drew them. This was the first spirit. Maybe he was starting to believe now. And he was very close to that spirit. And the spirit was there standing right at his elbow. Thank goodness he wore something to bed, right? I mean, how embarrassing have the spirit visit you and you're there and you're all together? Especially, I've never seen an attractive picture of Mr. Scrooge. Wrinkles, hook nose, hair half bald, and probably long fingernails. No, not the kind of person you'd want to see in the altogether. No. So the strange figure at the end of his bed turned out to be very childlike, yet not childlike as an old man. What, Mr. Dickens? Okay, is he a child or is this ghost like an old man? No, apparently more childlike. The hair hung about its neck and down its back and is as white as if from age. You know what? They sell boxes of stuff at the pharmacy that you can do something about that white hair. Someone told me that. I have no idea what that means. The arms of the spirit were very long and apparently muscular. Now, I didn't know that they knew muscular back in these days, but apparently they did. The hands were the same, and they seemed to hold uncommon strength. Well, to roll those curtains back. Its legs and feet were delicately formed. Now, here you've got this long hair, you've got someone with muscles, and yet it's delicate feet and legs. I'm telling you, if that person was in a show, it would be tough to try to costume them. I don't know. Muscular, wimpy feet and legs, long hair. Girl, go somewhere, girl, and get it redone. Get a makeover. My goodness. It wore a tunic of purest white, well, to match its white face, probably, and around its waist was a lustrous belt, maybe a bit of color, maybe, the sheen of which was beautiful. That's what it says here. It held a branch of fresh green holly in its hand, and in singular contradiction of that wintry emblem, which is the holly, which I love holly at Christmas, it's very nice, had its dress trimmed with summer flowers. Well, there you go. We all know you can't mix seasons. And a perfect example of that is white purses all summer, but I'm telling you, by midnight Labor Day, you better look for that black purse. I learned that from my mother. Same thing here. Mixing holly with summer flowers on a white gown? No, it doesn't work. But the strangest thing about this spirit was the crown of its head, where there was a bright, clear jet of light. Well, we've all run into people, haven't we, who have this light zipping out of their head. Well, maybe we haven't. I'm just saying. Some of us have, maybe. Well, so far I'm not too impressed with this first ghost, I have to say. When Scrooge looked at it with increasing steadiness, he thought perhaps it was not the strangest quality in a person, this ghost. I don't know. I think so. The belt sparkled and glittered. Well, there you go. Basic white, blah, and with the belt, a bit of glitter and sparkle. You can't go wrong with the belt with some glitter and sparkle. Are you the spirit, sir, whose coming was foretold to me? Asked Mr. Scrooge. I am. The voice was soft and gentle, so surprisingly low, as if instead of being so close beside him, it were at a distance. What? Who and what are you? Scrooge demanded. I am the ghost of Christmas past. That's pretty good, right? Yeah. Long past? Inquired Mr. Scrooge. I got the voices mixed up there. No, your past. Well, perhaps Scrooge could not have told anybody why if anybody could have asked him, but he had a special desire to see the spirit in his cap and begged him to be covered. What? Exclaimed the ghost. Would you so soon put out with worldly hands the light I give? Is it not enough that you are one of those whose passions made this cap and blah, blah, blah? You know what? You're losing me, spirit. You're losing me. Well, then Mr. Scrooge asked him what business brought him to his quarters. Your welfare, said the ghost. Scrooge expressed himself much obliged, but could not help thinking that a night of unbroken rest would have been more conducive to that end. No kidding, I'd be ticked off if someone woke me up in the middle of the night. Ooh, sparkly belt and white hair. The spirit must have heard him thinking, for it said immediately, Your reclamation, then. Take heed. It put out its strong hand as it spoke. Good thing it didn't put out its wimpy feet. Ooh. And said to Scrooge, Rise and walk with me. Well, okay, they got over to the window, and Scrooge looked down, and Scrooge said, Wait a second. Just a second, hold on here. You see, I'm immortal. That's what Mr. Scrooge said. He realized he was immortal, and he says, I fall if I'm going to fly out that window with you. Oh, bear just a touch of my hand, said the ghost. Well, he did that. And out the window they go, and they saw all manner of things. Good heavens, said Mr. Scrooge as they're flying around the countryside at one point. He said, I was bred in this place. I was a boy here. And I think there was a little tear coming down Scrooge's cheek, for the spirit pointed it out. What is that upon your cheek? He said. Well, the spirit asked Scrooge if he recollected this place, this world. Remember it, cried Mr. Scrooge. I could walk it blindfold. Well, there you go. We're leaving that today. They're flying around the countryside, Scrooge touching the hand of the spirit. And we'll see what happens next. Are you getting excited, viewers? I'm excited. I want to know what happens at the end of this story. Well, it's been a bit long in the tooth today, but if you stayed around for the entire story, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time right here on this Rob blog. Bye for now. Take care of yourselves. Happy holidays. Bye.